Clipping in Thursday the 25th of April, lovely hot, well, warm sunny morning, and I'm presently grinding away between Sorby Bridge, Sorby Village, heading up onto the moors that lead towards Whitehouse and Blackstone Edge. I think today's ride is going to be in the low 50s, and it should be a little bit of everything. Ruley Lane climbed, turning off eventually to Myrie Lane. Beautiful day. Older buildings around this part. Heading towards Steep Lane, you can see the Baptist Chapel there, and then over there the moors, you might catch a glimpse of Ovenden Wind Farm. Tremendous. Nice view of Studley Pike over there. In recent rides videos, I've been talking about my change towards feeding on the bike and recovery feeding after the ride, and I've been doing that change now, the new regime, for nearly a fortnight. My complaint was on 120, 130 mile rides, sometimes I was finishing feeling okay, but then I'd feel dead for 3, 4, 5 days afterwards. Other times, if it was a hillier ride, I might fall apart before the end of the long ride itself and then still feel dead for 4 or 5 days afterwards. And at first I thought, well, maybe I'm just unfit, maybe I'm just at my age, maybe I've not been back cycling long enough, 1 year. But gradually I didn't settle for that. I thought it's more likely to be nutrition related, and I started digging into some of the classic textbooks from the old days, like Burke, Friel, The Law of Running, Euckendrup, and other stuff that I've collated over time and tucked away in training folders. And I realised that, firstly, I was underestimating how hard the long rides have been at the state of fitness that I have now. You know, when I was 30, riding 16 miles an hour for 7 or 8 hours wouldn't have felt difficult. But in this country, at this age, at this weight, at this reduced aerobic capacity, it does feel harder. So therefore, if it feels harder, you're burning more carbohydrate than you think. Also, dripping 45 grams of carbs per hour, which I was doing, is not going to be enough. You're going to sell out at some point. I also think I wasn't really paying enough attention to post-ride recovery. Yeah, I'd make a token gesture of milk or a yogurt, but nothing specific and nothing calculated. And well, what I did, my aim of changing things wasn't just to get over the line of a long ride. It was to be able to get over the line of a long ride and feel good enough to go out next day and maybe ride 60 and feel okay. And that just wasn't happening and hasn't been happening in the year that I've been back. So that was the aim of the change. Now, I think there's enough technical gobbledygook for it to warrant its own video, and I don't like bogging clipping in videos down with too much of that kind of thing. If there's an appetite for it, I could always make a separate video covering some numbers. But just while I'm on this topic, today is day 12 of an experiment. The experiment being a volume camp. I haven't left home, but it's still a volume camp, and I'm aiming at 14 days, 1,000 kilometers, which would have sounded quite a modest volume, but it's something that I haven't been able to get near in the time I've been back. I've had 2, 3, 4 good days and then just folded and needed four days fallow to recharge. So this time around, this is day 12, and when I finish this ride, another 120 miles with 2 days remaining, and I've got the 621 mile 1000k in 14, and touch wood, I'm feeling good on it with the increased saddle carbs and the post-ride recovery feeding. Right, that's enough of the science. Let's get back to the scenery, eh? So I'm on the steady, quite impressive climb of Buckstones Road that goes up to Grange Bar. I won't be able to film all of it because it's quite a long climb and there are places where I will need 2 hands, but it gets nicely Swiss towards the top. Still, it keeps climbing through the bends and the barriers. Bit of a view of Oldham over there, and up we are. Yet another bend. Atmospheric. There it goes. Hello. You can see the cars there. That's more or less the summit, but it's yeah, it's a nice long atmospheric pull. Should get a view over there of Oldham, Greater Manchester, deepest, darkest Lancashire. Ooh. So we've more or less topped out now on Buckstones Road. This next junction, I've got to be careful. I do a right and then immediately a left, and it's more back roads. Hold it steady, and that should be a good view of the skyscrapers of Greater Manchester. So I went over Scout Head past the quarries, dropped down the S-Bends to Delph. That's better. The British Telecom open reach van inevitably caused a bottleneck on cars, so I've got to put the thing away. You're getting a view now back down into Delph, hopefully. And I'm climbing the other side of Buckstones Road up to Grange Bar. Another classic climb across the face of a hill. It's I don't think it's quite as impressive as the other one, but you can see up there where it's heading. And now you can see Grange Bar again, top of the climb. Makes for a nice little circuit. Next I'll be dropping down to Denshaw, and then the good old faithful climb over Buckstones and heading back home. A nice view over to Castle Hill at Armonbury, and then further back the 2 masts at Emley Moor. So I'm approaching Buckstones Rocks. I think this ride is going to be somewhere over 53 miles. Clouding over a little bit now, and I can feel the southeast wind is rising, just pinning the temperatures back a touch, and my phone's going off in my back pocket, and I only have 2 hands. Anyway, don't forget your post-ride recovery drinks. Don't just rely on canned fruit. And for this episode of Clipping In, I'll say bye for now. And see you before too long for another one. Goodbye.